Good morning, Jessica Hensley here.
And Randy Mendez Para. It is Monday, December 14th. And today's a little extra special for me today, Jess, because it is my mom's birthday. So
I didn't know that. We should have done something for your mom and my dad while we were there because my dad's birthday was Saturday. So that's really cool. All of us December babies.
we totally should have. You were the Sunday before, so we should make sure that gets on the master calendar. In fact, last night I didn't message you, but I had like 20 things that I wanted to propose going through my head. So hopefully today I can remember them and get them in front of you. So
did you write them down?
No, but yeah, that is the problem. I was trying to go down. I was going between the houses and getting situated for the week. So, oh, look, my mom said she was sleeping in, but she's obviously not. Good morning and happy birthday. So, I got to say, Jess, just this Monday, every Monday, I think it was a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, my pastor said something about, how we look at Mondays is very telling, and just how we should be filled with more gratitude and purpose and thankfulness for each day. And so I just have to tell you today, it's like, it's an abundance. I'm pretty thankful every day, but it's an abundance because, 5 years ago today, I was giving my mom her 6th tea party. And she was present, but she wasn't really there mentally. She still was not there because of being septic. And we were, everyone was telling us to prepare to say goodbye. And here we sit 5 years later, and my mom is healthier than she's been in years. And in fact, it was at our event that somebody was like, "Did your mom just climb on that table to fix that wreath?" And she was like climbing a table and fixing a wreath and like whatever. But I'm just so thankful to, for health. And I think now it's just, I don't know. Anyways, I'm just super excited for Monday, ready to kick butt and then ready to celebrate my mom.
Yes, I hope you guys are going to do something extra special. I'm sure you are, knowing your family. Did you wake her up at midnight?
No, only the ones in the house. I feel like she would have been a little annoyed with me. And then I didn't even call her this morning because she was like, "I think I'm going to sleep in." She's like, it just sounds like sleeping in is because, again, our time, it's only 8 a.m. And so obviously she didn't do that. But so I didn't. But we are planning, again, just everything's different. And so I don't know if this sounds like so exciting, but my mom and I used to eat artichokes because my parents were divorced for 20 years. So she raised me by herself, and we ate artichokes a lot. And then last night I actually saw somebody eating artichokes, and I was like, "Mom, do you want artichokes for your birthday?" And she was
did you just like eat raw artichokes? The only way I've had them is like pickled, with like in salads and stuff.
Not raw. You cook them and then you take the leaf, and we would dip them in butter and mayonnaise. I don't know if that's very healthy, and then we would strip it with our teeth. And so I'm just laughing because that doesn't sound overly healthy. But funny enough, she responded and was like, "I've been asking Ramon," which is my husband. "I've been asking Ramon for them." And because he does the cooking for both households. And I was like, "Oh, okay. So we're definitely going to get her some artichokes." So
yum. Sounds delicious. So, Randy, today I thought we could talk about not undoing in faith. No, not undoing in doubt what you made the decision of in faith. I totally butchered that. But it's by Elisabeth Elliot. Do you know who that is? She was the wife of a missionary, and her husband died on the mission field. And she went on to write several books, and she's a an icon really in the Christian world. But that was something that she had said, and it's so true. And I thought right now, as we're all getting ready to prepare and plan for 2021, sometimes we start reevaluating things and start rethinking decisions we've made. And sometimes those decisions are things that we made in faith, and we're doubting because we're fearful and we're afraid of what's to come, especially since this year, nobody really predicted how it would go, right? So have you ever made a decision in faith and then tried to undo it in doubt?
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's not that I've undone it, but that I haven't stayed in alignment with the faith. So I've made a decision, and then we start moving towards it, and then all of a sudden I'm trying to figure it out on my own. Do you ever have that? Like, I find that like all of a sudden I know that I made decisions based on what God was telling me to do, and then all of a sudden I'm in the midst of the decision, and I'm trying to like wallow in it by myself, and I'm not turning to him for that guidance and that clarity. And so, but it also makes me think of, it just makes me also think of like tithing and gifting, because a lot of times I think that we'll commit. I just recently was thinking about gifting, because gifting is above and beyond our tithe, right? And so I was trying to come up with a number, and I had asked my husband, like, to help me think of a number that we would do this year annually for gifting. And then I prayed about it, and God was like, it needs to be an important number to you. Like, the number has to have meaning to you. And so I immediately was like, okay, I think I know the number. And then my church put up a post of what they had raised like to date, and it kind of matched the number. And so it was like the confirmation. I was like, okay, I hear you, God. I got my number. I have my number, right? But so right now I feel really good about it. But just in thinking about what you're talking about, I could see where, like, the next couple months tend to be really slow for me. And I could see where it would be easy to drift from that tithe and that gifting commitment, because of, like, human life happens, and money issues or whatever. I'm not saying there is going to be, I'm just going to say, as an example, I think that would be a really, especially when we gift and tithe in faith, that would be a really easy way to stray.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I could see the thought process there of, well, I need to put a little bit more in reserves because I don't have a ton of closings, or, whatever. We just don't know what tomorrow holds, especially as realtors. I mean, we can control our daily activity, and that's what we teach our moms. But at the end of the day, there are things that are out of our control. We can control our efforts, but not always the results immediately.
Well, and just, obviously this podcast is to business owners. So just thinking as business owners, that's why I was saying that, because, for instance, in my market, the pause was just extended until the 15th of January. And as of this morning, the eviction moratorium is back until March. And so this is the second time in history that I know of, in 1 year, that the government has infiltrated, if you will. I don't know, that's probably too harsh of a word, but they have come in between a private homeowner and their ability to collect on their asset. And so I think that those kind of things, like, so you just talking about what we're talking about today, which is not straying, right? Like, those are really unique circumstances that I could totally see, like a landlord saying, yeah, I might have committed to do X, but here I am in this situation that is a 1 in a million chance of being in. They could be faced with not having their rents paid for months on end. They could, different hardships. And if you're a business owner on top of it, and you can only operate at 25% capacity, you've got to be hitting some financial turmoil. And so I just think, not just tithing and gifting, but just business decisions in general right now are probably going to be tested harder than they ever have been.
Well, it also makes me think about making decisions on courses and training programs. So, like, for example, we have the Team Builder course that's open right now, and it's a pretty big commitment for those that are trying to build a team and they want guidance. So that's one of the really cool things that we created this year that I'm so proud of, honestly, Randy. But when you're spending $1,500 on a course, and you make that initial decision, and then you're a couple months into it, and you're like, oh yeah, this is a lot, this is more work than I realized, or whatever. I mean, making those decisions in faith and then not following through with it. Anything in business, really, making the decision in faith, but then not giving yourself the time to marry it, to see it through, and then undoing it and second guessing yourself in doubt. I've made that mistake so many times in my business where I didn't just stick with something for a year. And I know that's one of the big things we teach on.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, and I think that could even be personal, because think about how many people right now are, evaluating life, finances, balance, home, and they're getting ready to make decisions. In fact, at our Team Builder retreat, one of the things we had them do was evaluate different areas of their life and to make 3 strategic goals on how they were going to bring the lower areas up. And so I think that, again, it's one of those things that, when a lot of times you're making decisions, it's easy to pray about them and feel like, okay, God's calling me to do this, I'm going to do this. But then when it comes time to actually do the work, keep the commitment, stay the course, implement the discipline, that's when I think that a lot of times it just can be easier to not stay on the decision made in faith. And so I think it's important, obviously this is faith, family, career. And so I think it's important at this time, especially, to really not only spend some time. And it's funny that we're talking about this, because yesterday at church, what we were talking about is saying yes to God. And there was a story told about this little old gal who wanted to go on mission to Africa, and everybody gave her all these logical reasons why she shouldn't, like her age and, health and just all kinds of different things. And she actually even kind of told a white lie to her pastor about how old she actually was, because she really wanted him to back her trip. And then of course, when she got home from Africa the first time, she told him the truth. But she ended up going, for years, and it ended up, the handyman from the church that ended up going with her ended up being saved. And one time she was actually sick, and so he actually went out and gave a message, and then it was like this huge trickle effect, and all these people that were impacted because she said yes. And so we were challenged at church to really spend some time thinking about and praying about what we're supposed to be saying yes to for God, and what we're just supposed to be open to. And so it kind of goes hand in hand with this, because right after I had, I'm really fortunate that it just so worked out that several of my team members, we all go to the same church. So I had a couple of my team members within my business come to me after and talk to me about the message, and they kind of felt some of the same things I felt. And so we felt like our yeses were confirmed. But now it'll be, interesting, and hopefully we'll stand strong in prayer and faith. But now it's not just saying yes, it's a matter of following through with that and having the faith to stay committed to it no matter what, which it could look very different in any year, let alone 2021.
Yeah, so that reminds me of a verse, Romans 11:29, and it says, "For the gifts and callings of God are without repentance." So once you make that decision, and I challenge, I don't necessarily plan our topics on Monday, just kind of like what comes to me. And so I'm wondering if there's somebody out there right now that is trying to make a decision, right? And God's telling you to do something, and you are struggling with it, doubting it, and not going forward in faith. And just know, the other saying that, and I know that there has to be a verse that correlates with this, but where God guides, he provides, right?
Without a doubt. It's funny that you said that, because I can't tell you how many times I go live, just, to stay top of mind, or just to kind of engage with people, whatever reason I go live. But I'll go live and I just think afterwards, like, boy, was that a random, pointless ramble? Like, what did I just do? And then I'll get a message that somebody will say, like, thank you so much, I needed to hear that, or this really helped me. And I'm always like, I'm so glad he always knows what he's doing, because if we left it up to me, we would be in trouble.
Well, I tell you, I love getting those messages. I know you get these too, Randy, but where our moms in our coaching group, they say they feel like God brought them to us, and that they're supposed to be part of our program or whatever. And they really feel like it was something that God led them to. And it's really humbling and exciting that we are able to be used by him in some way.
Yeah, I'm always excited to be his broken vessel. But and it's funny, because I think that if you really pay attention and you're just open to hearing and seeing, that's my case across the board. Like when I think about my team, God brought me my team, especially my current team, and God brings me a lot of my business, it's tied back to a church or a church member, or, somebody that prayed about it and felt like I was the realtor that, they should go with. And so, and even in life, like right now, we have some different things in the family, and I'm kind of sitting mind blown, because relationships that have been restored and things that have come like back around in full circle, it's just things that you never imagined happening. But it's like, you can see, while we as humans were like clouding it and making it harder and making it seem that much more not obtainable, God was at work. And when God does it, it's just like so seamless. It's just seamless. So yeah, I really like that. And good morning, Victoria. Victoria had come to our team retreat in Oklahoma, and we absolutely loved getting to sit with her, especially Fireside. Fireside, if you have a business, I know things look a little bit different right now, but we were trying to also keep COVID in mind, and so we decided to, when we did a more intimate meeting with our teams, we did it outside, because that's suggested to be safer. And so we did it with fires, and it was really fun. It was just to sit around the fire and chat about business and life was really, really fun. And so if you have a business and you haven't spent some time with your team yet in that kind of setting, I would really encourage you to do so. Random side note, not on topic.
Yeah, it was really good. It was great. So that's the word today. If you have made a decision in faith, don't undo that decision in doubt. And just stay the course. And once you have made a decision in your business or in your faith, your spiritual journey, whatever it is, give yourself a chance to see it through. And I think maybe making a decision in your business isn't always calling of God, right? So sometimes there's your CRM or there's a coaching method or whatever. But I mean, the same principle applies. If you made the decision, see it through and give yourself a chance to implement it, and don't give up on it before. I mean, it's just like the principle of sowing and reaping. It's going to take time to sow and water and to see it grow before you see the results.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, I think that we as humans in multiple forms, we like to steal God's thunder. I think we do in so many capacities. Like we just rob him of so many opportunities to work because of our impatience or because of our quick decision. So I guess, to kind of simplify it for you, you might say, well, how do I know? How do I know which way to go, or that I'm staying in it? Or, obviously there are times in business that you need to stop doing something, a decision you made, or you need to correct course. And it's imperative that you do it. But I would just say, make sure you put that to prayer. I think that a lot of times business owners are quick to react and not respond. And so something I personally try to do is I try to take it intentionally to prayer, and then I try to give it a day or two, and I ask for that confirmation. Like I like things to be very clear. So I'm like, I'd give me some clear confirmation, and then don't fight it when it's clear. I shared the story, Jess, I've shared it with you before, but I knew that there was a change that needed to be made with a couple of our team members. And I prayed very clearly. And in this case, God acted very quickly. And I prayed boldly. I said, slam the door. If we need to make change, if we need to make course correction, slam the door. And then the person slammed the door like an hour later. And my ego, my pride wanted to open the door, because I was like, wait a minute, no, because I didn't shut the door. And so then Jordy had actually heard me, and she was like, wow, Mom, God moved really quick. She was like, you asked for quick and for clear, and that was quick and clear. And I was like, oh my goodness, it was. Stop kicking the door, Randy. That was God. And so I think that when we put it to prayer and then we pay attention, he will confirm the direction we need to go.
Some real life examples for our business, if we're being real and raw here. So a couple of things that we have made decisions in faith. One of them being to keep faith the forefront of our messaging and just the center of our coaching business. And it's something we have questioned in doubt because of a couple people's reaction over the years. But we've had way more confirmation of the positive impact that it's had and the need that there is for this particular type of program and just group in our industry, where we can come alongside each other and encourage each other in the Lord. And I've used the word before, emboldening each other to actually be a light in our individual markets, because, I'm in the Bible Belt, so to speak. So it's not that far-fetched for me to, make God and faith be a center of my business. But for some of the moms that are in our group, I mean, their areas just it's not that common of a denominator. And probably maybe even you, I don't know about Reno.
Reno is the number one most unchurched city in the United States. And I mean, also, if you just think about where we got, there's definitely, I don't think that there's like anything against it, but at the same token, if you think about it, like, our founding people of our state, whoever those were, they tested prostitution out because they thought that would work. And then they went ahead and left that in place. And so, I mean, we definitely are a very liberal state, to say the least. And so we are, I've over the years, I've watched that, because when I first got in the business and I didn't separate faith, I was definitely out there by myself. Like I was definitely, and now I've seen more people kind of rise up and do that. And it is still, you're right, Jess, it is something risky in any business, because you're putting it out there. And here's what I've always said in our real estate business is that we're not saying this is who we want to work with. We want to work with anyone and everyone. And it makes me really think of church as well, because I don't want to be part of a church where every single person looks exactly alike and we do the same thing and we all believe we're perfect and we're in our bubble, right? We want that diversity and we want the chance to love, all God's people. And so that's the same thing in my business. We want the chance to serve all God's people, whether they're believers, non-believers, whether they're blue, whether they're purple, whether they're male, whether they're female. But we do want people to know who we are. And that's where we are in. And that's how I was able to make the shift comfortably. Because I did go rounds a little bit years ago when I formed my team, because people were like, well, you can't say that in business. And I said, listen, I'm not saying anything about who I work with. I'm saying something about me, and I should be able to say that. I should be able to say, this is who I am. And so I want to be God honoring in everything we do. And same to this day, when somebody joins my office, I tell them, hey, whatever your belief is, I respect that. But you have to be comfortable with the fact that as the owner of this business, I'm going to pray over this business. I'm going to do, I'm going to, lift up our decisions. I'm going to lift you up in prayer. You got to be comfortable with that. And so, yeah, it is definitely different. And now having a business like Mega Moms, where we have a large portion of our audience who do come from the Bible Belt and or the South, where, again, faith is a little bit stronger than definitely the West Coast. It is interesting because I definitely can see it running much more rampant, which is a great thing in our Mega Mom business versus like my real estate business. And it just in life, in my city, right? But the great news is we're here in our city and we're ready to do work. So.
Yeah, why don't you say that gave you strength? I mean, obviously you started that journey long before you and I formed this Mega Mom group, but I for me, it has given me, I don't know, it's encouraged me that there's people all over that are like-minded and we're not alone. We're not alone in our journey of faith.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of what I was thinking about a little bit ago when we were talking, is that, if you are feeling led to make decisions in business in faith, share those with the other believers within your organization and your company, because it's a lot like, like you said, you feel, strengthened by knowing that there's other people. Well, it's kind of like life, right? Like, and it's kind of like, we go out into this world and we need to love on all God's people, but it's important to be fueled, by the people in our church or, that share that same belief system. Well, it's kind of the same in work. I think for me, knowing that people believe in the same mission and the same value system, it strengthens me, right? It's the same thing. And having that wise counsel. I mean, there's, as I've grown, it's sometimes there's like tough decisions, like I recently had a decision where I was part of an organization that is going a little bit different, and I want to support the organization, but it doesn't necessarily line up 100% with what I believe. And so I needed to be able to go to, I went to my pastor and I was like, how do I do this? And of course, he makes everything so simple. He's like, you can love the person, you don't have to love the lifestyle. And I was like, it's so simple. I was like, there you go, fixed. But he just made it so simple. And so I do think it is really important, and I do think it's really empowering. And so I would say that, that's something we're really thankful for, is that we stepped out in faith. And I can't tell you how many times we had the conversation of, no, we're going to be, that's okay. That's all right. If we're not that person's cup of tea, we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep trucking forward. And so as a business owner, when you do choose to have a faith-based business, you do have to, understand, and it's any business. I know very successful business owners that haven't hung their business on faith, but they've hung it on whatever their niche is. And you have to get comfortable with the fact you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And at the same token, how many people have we attracted and how many people do we probably sustain? Not because, we do a lot of great trainings and all of that, but because rather it's a community where you can always come to that faith is going to cross-check every single decision we make.
All right, Mom. So go out and conquer the world this week. Just got about a week and a couple days till Christmas, and got my shirt on. Santa's favorite real estate agent.
Can't wait to check my mail so I can get mine today. I'm not Santa's favorite agent. I'm just salty.
You're salty.
Which comes from Matthew, not the worldly salty, but we love to do a play on those words. So anyways, have a wonderful Monday. Have a productive week. And we will see you back here on Friday. And our Mega Mom, we will see you over in tomorrow in the all right. Bye, guys. Bye.